Good day, folks. Welcome back to Merton Hyundai and Ed's Garage. Today I'm looking at a 2021 Santa Fe Trend Hybrid. So that is the preferred trim with the Trend package and the Hybrid package. So really excited to show you all the features on this vehicle. Now, if you haven't already seen my video on the Santa Fe Luxury Hybrid, by all means check the description below for that, because obviously that has more features. So if you're looking for one with very many features, a very feature-rich hybrid, definitely check that one out. Now, having said that, the Trend actually is incredibly feature-rich. I mean, it lacks some of the more, luxury-oriented things like ventilated seats, but it does have a huge panoramic sunroof, leather interior, and all the safety tech you could possibly want. So let's get into it. Let's check out the 2021 Santa Fe Trend Hybrid. All right, today we're going to start under the hood because, of course, a hybrid, deserves a little bit of attention under here. So the Trend Hybrid is powered by a 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, of course, mated to an electric motor, making a combined 228 horsepower, which honestly gets this one up to 100 kilometers an hour in a relatively quick 8.5 seconds, which I know it doesn't sound that quick, but keep in mind, guys, this is a hybrid and it's it's a mid-size SUV and it's got a ton of space on the inside, which we'll get to a little bit later. So it's actually reasonable for acceleration, and passing is quite good as well. You do get all the torque of the electric motor in there, which is kind of nice as well. So it's pretty snappy off the line. So having a look under here, some typical things that you would normally see and some things that you would definitely not see normally, like all of the orange connections here. That's all the high voltage wiring. You've got your coolant for your electric motor here, and then your coolant for your engine there. So in case you're wondering why there's two coolant reservoirs, and one's blue, one's pink. Look at that, it's so colorful under here. All right, also under here to note would be the amount of structural adhesive that this vehicle has. You can see it right along here. So hundreds of feet of structural adhesive. This is a top safety pick. So International Institute of Highway Safety has given it its highest possible safety rating, and in big part due to that structural adhesive usage. Hyundai is one of the only companies that uses hundreds of feet of structural adhesive. They also use lots of advanced high-strength steel. So this vehicle is constructed with over 60% advanced high-strength steel. Now, advanced high-strength steel has a higher tensile strength, but weighs less than your typical mild steel. And while most companies use less than 30%, Hyundai, being the only manufacturer of their steel, no other company does their own steel, they're able to use a lot of that advanced high-strength steel. So you can see a lot of that structural adhesive that I mentioned underneath the hood, but of course it's spread out throughout the vehicle. That actually increases the strength of those weld points quite a bit. So in the event of an accident, obviously it's going to be a little stronger. But not only that, when you're going around corners, going over bumps, that sort of thing, there's less twisting of the vehicle. There's more torsional resistance, so it's going to have less creaks and squeaks overall throughout its lifetime. But also something else to notice underneath the hood is just how much time and dedication Hyundai's put into the structure and the design of the vehicle. Key points. This right here, it's plastics covering that metal bit. So have a look under the hood of the competition. You'll notice that all you can see is just the inside is just metal. So they've covered that up. They've put insulation under the hood here, and it's actually a really nice tied down insulation. You got insulation along the back wall there for the firewall. Everything's nice and clean, and yet there's still lots of room to get around the engine when you're doing maintenance. So again, very low cost of ownership because maintenance is easy, and it doesn't require full synthetic, doesn't require high octane fuel or anything like that. It's really inexpensive to maintain and use. So good on Hyundai for thinking of the consumer in the long run. All right, so starting with the features on the front of the vehicle, you got these really cool T-shaped LED daytime running lights, and they are, of course, LED headlights and high beams as well. They use a reflector lens, so it's not a projection lens in the front here anymore, but these are really good headlights. You've also got the air curtain pass-through, of course, which creates a curtain of air over the front wheels to reduce drag. You'll see that on pretty much all Hyundai vehicles now. Down here, you've got the forward-facing radar system, which of course is used for the adaptive cruise control, the autonomous emergency braking system, but also up in the windshield, you'll see we've got a little camera right there. That's for the lane keep assist, as well as the pedestrian detection, cyclist detection, and new for 2021, junction assist. So when you're going up to a left turn and you have to make a left turn, if there's a car coming, the vehicle will actually prevent you from going through that left turn, potentially causing an accident. So it's able to see that and account for. It's pretty cool. All right, bringing along to the side of the vehicle now. So this is not the luxury and it's not the ultimate. However, it does share the same wheels. So it's got the 19-inch aluminum alloy wheels, and it's got that cool sort of aerodynamic design. Honestly, these look better in person than they do on video or pictures, so definitely check one of these out in person. And if you happen to live in the lower half of British Columbia, come and see me at Merton Hyundai in Chilliwack. I'd love to help you out. So now these wheels are wrapped in 235/55 19s. They are the Continental Cross Contact Mud and Snow rated tire, all seasons of course. Now if we look a little bit further down the vehicle, you'll notice on the mirrors we do have the marker lights. So that's for somebody in your blind spot. They'll be able to see what your intentions are. And then of course you do have the blind spot monitoring light in the mirror. Obviously we have proximity entry, so that's what that button's for. All right, and coming around to the back of the vehicle, of course we see we've got the hybrid badge right next to the H-Track badge. Something I forgot to mention while going over the engine and transmission. So it's a, well, actually it's a 6-speed automatic transmission. I totally forgot to mention that. It's not a CVT, it's not a dual clutch, it's just a good old-fashioned 6-speed bulletproof automatic transmission. And the reason they can do that in a hybrid is because you have the electric motor that kind of fills in all of the shift gaps. So the other thing to note though is with that H-Track system, this is a hybrid with all-wheel drive, and it's not a electrically powered rear wheel setup. It's actually a direct link from the front to the back with a drive shaft. So the all-wheel drive system in this vehicle is fantastic. Designed and engineered right here in Canada by Magna International. It's a predictive system. It doesn't wait for the front wheels to slip. It actually puts power to the rear wheels right away under any sort of acceleration. And it even has dynamic power going to the outer wheels when you're going around corners. Well, it's pretty cool. So it actually handles a little bit better, especially in the snow and rain. So pretty cool technology. But having a look at the back, you'll notice we do have backup sensors here. And as I mentioned, you got the LED tail lights. It does have the little bar going across. This one doesn't light up though, and the luxury and higher trim it does, but in the trend and lower it does not. You also notice you can't see the tailpipe. Of course, being a hybrid, we don't want to, show everybody that we're burning gas, but it's tucked up underneath the bumper there. Let's open up the trunk. All right, so a nice high lift gate. This one, as a 6'2" individual, I can stand underneath this tailgate very easily. Now, a lot of car companies, for whatever reason, aren't taking that into account, and they have these doors a little bit lower, and I've banged my head on a lot of car companies' tailgates. Nissan's probably the worst contender with the Pathfinder. I don't know if the newest one is okay, but the older ones definitely. But anyway, let's have a look in the trunk. Now, we've got around 1,000 liters of trunk space with the seats up. But however, if we put the seats down, which is really easy, boom, just like that, that expands to over 2,000 liters of trunk space. And of course, this one does have the underfloor storage. Really nice storage organizer. This can actually come out if you just want a whole open cavity there. And of course, you got a little bit more storage space back here, little cubby pocket there, little space here as well. This one does have a spare tire underneath. And of course, you got your accessory battery right here. So the 12-volt battery is back here. There is a charge point or a jump spot in the front, so you can actually jump the vehicle from the front or the rear. All right, let's check out the back seat of the Santa Fe. Now, this is where the Santa Fe really shines, especially if you have a family. So first off, before I jump in, I want to show you the windows have retractable sunshades, nice luxury option. All right, and there's a bottle holder in the door here. There's also seat back pockets on both of the front seats. And as a matter of fact, both of the front seats are solid on the back. So if you do have kids sitting back here, they can kick the seat all they want. It's not going to go through. You've also got the 2 USB ports down at the bottom here so the kids can charge their devices. And of course, a center cup holder armrest, which is nice and padded, very comfortable. And look at this leather, guys. You got quilted leather up here. It's an absolutely beautiful seat, and it doesn't stop there. I'm gonna climb in here and show you a couple things, which is really nice. All right, so check this out. Sitting in the seat initially, you'll notice this one's kind of out a bit further. I've got this seat reclined a tiny bit. Now, obviously, nobody's gonna sit in there like that. It's a 90-degree angle, but that's actually to create a barrier in the back. So if you have the back full of stuff, but you want the seats up, you can kind of create this barrier. Or if you have a dog back there or something like that, it's a nice 90-degree angle barrier. So when you're sitting back here, you'll see we've got a lot of range of motion, first off, on the seat back. So check this out. I'm gonna lock it into place. There we go. And now if I recline it, I got sort of 1, 2, That's 3 and 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 13, maybe 14 positions that I can put this seat back in. Now, most car companies will give you a reclining rear seat in an SUV. However, it'll only be 2 spots, maybe 3. So really nice, comfortable place to be, especially if you're, one of the kids who normally has to sit in the back. It's actually a really nice place to be. And as a matter of fact, I can even slide these seats forwards or backwards. So again, if I have a lot of stuff in the back and I don't necessarily need the legroom in the second row, I can move the seat forward. And check this out, by legroom, we're talking lots of legroom. I've actually set this front seat up where I would drive it, and you can see I've got easily 3 inches in front of my knees. So there is a ton of space in this vehicle. So great headroom, great legroom, knee room, foot room. I can put my feet underneath the front seats very, very easily. And if I needed to, I could even slide the seat forward a little bit. So great place to be. And check this out, huge, biggest in class panoramic sunroof. Of course, with all that advanced high strength steel, Hyundai can afford to have a little bit less steel structure because it's still maintaining the same torsional resistance, but we can also have this massive panoramic sunroof. And there is a shade that covers that entire thing. I'll try to remember to show you that a little later. All right, now before I jump into the front seat, there's another feature I want to show you here. So this one does have, of course, remote start. So I'm going to go ahead and use that now. And basically what we're going to look for is the light to flash on the mirror. Now there is, of course, lights that flash on the back of the vehicle as well. So you can see it from all sides, front, back, and the mirror. Now it is running. Of course, being a hybrid, the gas engine hasn't kicked on yet. So let's jump in. You'll notice, of course, it is still locked. So I'm going to go ahead and press that button to unlock it. I'm going to jump in. And this is another really cool thing I like about Hyundai's remote start system. I'm not going to, press the start button again. Most car companies, pretty much all car companies that I've seen anyway, I haven't found a single one other than Hyundai to do this, but they actually make you get in and then start the car again. In Hyundai's, you don't have to do that. Once you've used the remote start, you just climb in, you put your foot on the brake, and boom, it comes to life. I don't have to hit the start button again. I don't have to turn a key or anything like that. It just does it all automatically because it's recognized that the key is inside the car. All right, I've jumped out of the car again because I want to show you the power seats. So first off, the passenger side is power. Now again, that's not totally unusual in a higher end vehicle, but check this out. This one also has adjustable height and adjustable tilt on the passenger side. That's important to a lot of people, especially older folks that want to get in easily, not have to, climb up or down into the vehicle, but also want to sit a little bit higher. You can now do that. You've got a power adjustable height on your seat. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-way power, and then of course the headrest goes up and down. So a 10-way adjustable passenger seat. Now, of course, the driver gets a little bit extra comfort, even in the Trend model. Again, remember, this is not the luxury. This is just the Trend, preferred Trend. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 power. So that's your lumbar support. And then, of course, 11, 12 on the headrest. So 12-way adjustable driver seat. All right, before I jump into the vehicle again, a little bit of safety technology to point out. So this right here is your rear door lock, your child safety lock switch. Now, not only does it lock out the windows, it also locks out the doors. But Hyundai actually pretty much pioneered a cool technology called Safe Exit Assist. So what it does is, even with that off, if you're parallel parked and the vehicle detects that there's a car coming, it'll actually keep the rear doors locked. It won't let the rear doors open. And it also gives the driver a warning as well, so not to open the door. You can still open the door on the front, but you can't open the door in the back, but you do get a little warning in the front. So pretty cool technology. First thing I wanted to show you was this automatic shutoff thing. It's pretty neat. So being a hybrid, because the gas engine doesn't run all the time, you may, have forgotten to turn your car off. So the vehicle will actually shut itself off in 30 minutes. However, as soon as I touch something in the vehicle, whether it's the window switch, the brake, or whatever, it resets. So now it's going to be counting down again from 30 minutes. How cool is that? So there's a few free things to be aware of with a Hyundai vehicle, in Canada anyway. So for 3 months you get free Sirius XM radio. This one is equipped with the Sirius XM radio. You get 3 years of BlueLink technology. So you'll notice there's a couple of buttons up here for BlueLink, call for roadside assistance, and emergency assistance. And you can also locate the vehicle on a map using your cell phone. You can remote start from your cell phone. You can unlock the doors, lock the doors, all from your cell phone. That's all free for 3 years. So pretty nice from Hyundai, 3-year BlueLink technology. You've also got 5 years and 100,000 kilometers of new car coverage. Now that's a warranty that covers most of the vehicle's components, or at least the ones that are, likely to fail. Obviously things like the plastic paneling on the door isn't going to fail, so that's not covered. But your electronics, your engine, your drivetrain, all of that stuff, 5-year, 100,000 K. There are a couple exceptions to that. The stereo, for instance, and accompanying equipment is 3-year, 60,000 K. But unlike every other company, almost every other company, with the exception of pretty much just Kia, Genesis, and I think Volkswagen is 4-year, 80,000 K. But most companies will kill off coverage for things like your heated steering wheel, your power seats, your power windows, locks, mirrors, that sort of thing after 3 or 60. On Hyundais, it's actually covered for the full 5-year, 100,000 kilometers. All right, the first feature I'm going to show you is in regards to the sunroof. And the reason I'm going to do that is so I can close the sunshade so I don't get any glare inside the vehicle here. But it is a tinted sunshade, or a sunroof rather, tinted glass. We call it solar glass. And the front panel does open up quite wide. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So first off, I'm going to push it up because that'll actually vent the air. If I push it up again, it closes it. If I push it back, it opens it up. So let's see how far it goes here. All right, so quite wide. This is actually much wider than your typical, sunroof. And of course, the back doesn't open up because it needs to be fixed into place for safety purposes. But we're gonna go ahead and close that up. And at the same time, we're gonna close the sunshade all in one swoop. Now that sunshade can actually close or stop at any point along the way simply by hitting the button again. So you can see we've got it full control over exactly where we want that sunshade to be. And you'll notice the sunshade is completely light blocking. It doesn't allow any light through at all. All right, so starting the features off, on the left-hand side, you can see we've got a power e-brake, which I'll set now because it actually has a cool function I'll show you a little bit later. You've got the lane keep assist button right here. Now the lane keep assist in this vehicle works over 60 kilometers an hour. However, there is a lane follow assist, which works at lower speeds. So lane keep assist will stay on by default unless you disable it. And basically when you hit over 64 kilometers an hour, if the forward-facing camera can see the lines on the road, it'll actually be able to steer to some degree within those lines. The lane follow assist, on the other hand, by default is off. You do need to enable that, and you'll see if when I press the button here, it adds that little steering wheel right beside the lane keep assist icon. So when either of those is green, that means that those systems are functional. Now the lane keep assist basically is going to be able to steer within the lanes, again, to some degree. It's not an autonomous vehicle. So that one you got to turn on by yourself. Now you've also got adaptive cruise control. You can see we've got the button here that adjusts the distance between you and the car in front of you. Of course, this vehicle will slow down when they slow down, etc. And you can set the speed and everything here. So with those two things and the lane keep assist combined, you can very, very easily and comfortably cruise down the highway with very little input. Now, if the vehicle notices that there isn't enough input, it's actually even got a reminder for you. If it determines that your attention level is low, it'll give you a reminder saying, hey, consider taking a break. And that looks like this. You'll see on this particular screen that I have it right now, it says attention level is high. So as we drive, as we input into the steering wheel and into the brake and into the accelerator pedal, different ways of driving, this vehicle will actually determine whether or not it thinks you're getting tired. Now, not to worry, it isn't an annoying thing. It actually doesn't happen very often, and you can change the aggressiveness of how sensitive that system is. So pretty neat technology to help keep you safe. The other cool thing I want to bring up that I forgot to mention earlier was you may notice in the back of the vehicle along the roof line right there, there's actually some sensors. That's an ultrasonic sensor system. So if a child or a pet has been left in the vehicle while the vehicle is off, a notification will actually be sent to your cell phone letting you know that, hey, there's movement inside the vehicle. Those are ultrasonic sensors. So pretty neat. It'll also set off the car alarm as well. So no more, kids and pets dying in cars, hopefully. Pretty neat technology. Again, something that was pretty much pioneered by Hyundai. I believe it was back in 2019 when they came out with that technology, and of course this vehicle is also equipped with that. All right, having a look at some of the other controls on the steering wheel, just moving off of the cruise control here. On the left-hand side, you have all of the multimedia controls with voice recognition, of course. Now, the voice recognition in this vehicle is only functional when you have a cell phone connected with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So that's how that works. It'll access Siri or the Google Assistant. On the back of the steering wheel, you've got paddle shifters here, which is kind of nice. So you'll be able to shift through the gears manually. It does have automatic headlights as well. And on the right-hand side, of course, is your windshield wiper washer stick. All right, having a quick look at the instrument cluster on this vehicle. So on the left-hand side, you can, of course, being a hybrid, you may want to know when it's charging, when it's using lots of power, when it's economical. So that needle will basically move as you drive. Anytime you're slowing down, pressing the brakes, going down a hill, you'll see this needle going to go down into the charge section here because it's going to be using regenerative braking to slow you down most of the time, especially when going down a hill. Anytime it's in the green section, that means you're driving, you're accelerating, but you're doing it economically. If it's in the power section, of course, you're using a lot of fuel. On the right-hand side, of course, you have your speedometer, nothing too special there. And in the middle, you have a small color screen. Now, that color screen can display multiple different things. Using the buttons on the steering wheel here, I can actually go through those things. So this one here will actually cycle you to the right along the top of the screen. You can see the icons changing. And then this one will go up and down in the menus and then choose the menus as well. That's actually an OK button. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's start at the first screen here. So you got your attention level, and then using the up and down button, we look at the kind of the most useless screen in the car, actually, because if you can see this, that means your eyeballs work. Just look out the front window. But basically, this is your lane keep assist and your cruise control info screen. Jumping one over, we have our digital speedometer, and we also have our drive info, so your trip A and then your trip B, pretty much since refueling, accumulated info over the life of the vehicle, and then your energy flow screen. So this is showing where energy is going to and coming from, and then back to your digital speedometer. And you'll notice it says hold OK for miles per gallon. So if I hold that up and down button, I can switch it into miles per gallon, or miles per hour, and of course miles, which you can see at the top there. So pretty neat. So that's your range till empty along the top. So 412 kilometers till empty on about a half a tank. This vehicle will actually go about 900 kilometers on a tank of fuel. Very, very fuel efficient. Jumping over one, we see the user settings. Now this is where we can actually go through and change how the vehicle reacts and does certain things at certain times. So I'll give you a couple examples here. If we go into driver assistance and smart cruise control reaction, we can actually put that on slow, normal, or fast. Now you'd always want to have it on fast. I don't know why anyone would have the reaction speed on slow, but Hyundai likes to give you the options. Under forward safety, you can see we've got active assist, warning, or off. So active assist means if it sees something in front of you that could potentially be accident causing, if you're not slowing down or stopping, it's going to apply the brakes full braking force, 80 kilometers an hour or slower. If you're going faster than 80 kilometers an hour, it would actually be unsafe to apply full braking force. So it will slow you down in a hurry, but only apply full braking force when it's below 80 kilometers an hour. Warning will just give you a beeping warning, and off turns the whole system off. Lane safety, you can see we've got active assist or just a warning as well, so whether or not it actually will keep you in the lanes or just give you warnings. You got blind spot monitor safety information, parking safety, rear cross traffic alert, of course. It's pretty much standard on Hyundai Santa Fe's now. And then in the some of the other features here, you got a welcome sound you can have when you turn the vehicle on. You can even change the background theme of this little screen. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see what we're looking at. So there's one of the themes. There's one of the themes, and there's one of the themes. So kind of a silly little thing, but you know what? Like I said, Hyundai likes to give you options. And then finally, bumping it one further over, we get the all-wheel drive information screen, the tire pressure monitor, and the engine temperature. Now, the all-wheel drive information screen is pretty cool. Basically, you'll see little blue lines kind of show up. You know what? I could just put it in drive and show you. So remember how I said earlier how the vehicle has a predictive all-wheel drive system? I've put it in drive now, and you'll notice as soon as I start to move, it's putting power to all the wheels. It's not waiting for the front wheels to slip. It's putting power to all the wheels to mitigate the potential of the front wheel slipping. All right, so moving over to the center console, we do have a fairly deep and large storage compartment here with a small tray that can be mounted in the top. And it's quite roomy, actually. You know, it's funny, this one has 2 trays. It's not supposed to have 2 trays. That's interesting. Yeah, lots of room in there. And it's a nice padded top on there for your armrest. You've got a spot to put your cell phone. It's not a wireless charger in this one, though. Keep that in mind. You got 2 cup holders here. One of the cup holders can be completely covered up. And that's actually next to a USB port that is for your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto if your phone is incapable of wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, because this screen does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. How cool is that? So you don't actually have to connect your phone physically. You can just jump in and have it jump on the screen for you right away. That goes through Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. All right, looking further up on the console, you can see we've got heated seats here, which is really nice in the winter, and a heated steering wheel. So a full 360 degrees around the steering wheel is heated. A lot of car companies only give you the grips. Hyundai gives you the full steering wheel. So nice leather-wrapped heated steering wheel. You have an auto hold function, which basically holds the vehicle in place when you take your foot off the brake. So instead of rolling backwards or forwards, the car will simply not move when you have the auto hold turned on. Towards the right here, we have the drive mode knob. So this is really cool. Now you've got Eco, Sport, and Smart. And as you change those modes, it actually shows you up in the little screen here what mode you're in. Now the Eco mode is going to save you some money on the highway. It's for highway driving specifically. Basically what it's going to do is make the car accelerate a little bit slower. It's going to keep it in the highest gear possible, and it's going to make the vehicle a little bit more sluggish. In Sport mode does the opposite. It will keep the engine turned on most of the time. Of course, being a hybrid, you know, it has that ability to keep the engine off or on whenever it deems necessary, but with Sport mode, it'll keep it on more often. It also tightens up the steering wheel to give it a more sporty feel, more on-center feel as well. And then Smart mode basically just looks at how you're driving and adapts dynamically to your driving style. The terrain mode, so you press the center button here and you can adjust between snow, mud, and sand. Basically, it's going to mess with the all-wheel drive system and the stability control to give you the best possible, you know, ability in those types of terrains. Now I say mess with, but basically it's going to lock a center differential. It's going to increase the traction control's aggressiveness, and it's going to apply power to more to the front or more to the rear, depending on the scenario. In snow, you know, you might want to have a bit more power going to the front. However, in sand, you might want to have a bit more power going to the rear. So it's going to be able to do all of that for you in real time pretty nicely. And then, of course, drive mode goes back to that. Pretty simple. Towards the right of that, we have the camera button here, so you can actually turn on the backup camera at any time, which I'll get to in a minute. You have the backup sensor enable disable and the hill descent assist, which nobody ever uses anyway. Up along the top here, you have the climate control system. So really nice climate control system with a couple of nice luxury features. For one, you can adjust the aggressiveness of the automatic climate control. So I can actually have it full fan all the time, well, when it's trying to cool down or heat up, or I can have it medium and low, which is kind of nice. And the other cool feature is the driver only option. Being a hybrid, you might want to save fuel by completely shutting off the climate control on the passenger side of the vehicle. So you can put it into driver only, and that'll completely shut the vents off on the right hand side. So there's no air coming out of this vent right now, but this one there is. Pretty neat. Now, of course, being dual zone automatic climate control, both front driver and passenger get to choose their own temperature. Now you're probably wondering where you see that temperature. Well, it's just up on the screen here. So as soon as you change something, it'll come up along the top, and if you want to actually see exactly what's going on at all times, you can press the climate button, and that'll take you into the climate screen where you can then see exactly what setting it's on. So pretty cool, lots of information there, and again, as you adjust, it shows up on the screen. Pretty simple. All right, before I get too far off this console, I want to talk about this shift-by-wire transmission. A lot of people don't like the shift-by-wire transmission, and I'm going to show you a couple of reasons why you should like it and why it's better. So, first off, it's a lot easier to put it into gear. I mean, you're not grabbing a shift stick and moving it around. Obviously, that's not a big deal, but what I mean by easier is if you're doing a multi-point turn, let's say you're doing a U-turn on a really tight road, you know, it's really easy to go reverse, drive, reverse, drive. Simple. It's actually really quick. So that's kind of nice. The other cool thing is this. Let me put my seatbelt on for you real quick. All right, I've got my seatbelt on. I'm going to hold it here so it doesn't rub against the microphone. I'm going to go ahead and put the vehicle into drive, and I'm going to pull forward a little bit. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it in drive, but I'm going to forget that it's in drive, and I'm going to take off my seatbelt. I'm going to open the door, and boom, it's in park, as you can see on the screen here. So without actually pressing the P button for park on the shift controls, it's put it into park for me automatically. It'll do that in two different places. A, when you take your seatbelt off and open the door, or B, when you shut the car off. If you forget to put it into park for whatever reason, it'll do it for you. Pretty cool. But there's a couple more things I want to show you. So one of those things is this. When you have the e-brake on, so I'm going to pull the e-brake, you're going to see it's coming on right there. So now when I put the car in drive, you'll notice the e-brake turns itself off. So it's no longer got the emergency brake on. So because it's all electronic, it figures it out and it knows that it needs to take the e-brake off. It makes sense. Finally, the third thing to show you with this is the fact that you have no shift column, there's no linkages going through the console, means you have under console storage. So there's a huge storage spot down here. By the way, this is where the passenger has access to a USB port, and on the other side, there we go, you got a 12-volt power outlet there as well. So huge storage. A lot of women put their purse there because it's actually quite large and it makes a lot of sense to put it there. But yeah, that's something you wouldn't be able to do with a whole bunch of shift linkage going through the console. All right, so looking up a little bit further before we get to the screen, it does have an auto-dimming rearview mirror with HomeLink buttons. You can see those buttons right down there. And both of the side visors do slide out, and they both have mirrors, and they both have lights. Now, the last thing I want to do before I talk about that screen is talk about interior comfort. Now, a lot of reviewers talk about interior plastics and whether or not they're soft touch. Personally, I don't care. If it looks good and it's comfortable, that's all that matters to me. However, I'm going to show you a couple of places where there is soft touch and hard plastic. So this one right here, soft touch. So this whole piece right here is soft touch, which is kind of nice because of course that's part that you're going to be touching if you have your arm out the window and your elbow up there. This is hard, obviously, because it's a design element. This is hard plastic. This one right here is all soft touch. Why? Because you have your elbow sitting here, right? But that goes all the way down to here. And then down here, it's hard again. Cool little look on the speaker grill. It's kind of a parametric design going there on the speaker grill. There's actually cup holders or bottle holders in the doors. As far as the dash goes, down here, it's solid. However, up here, it's soft touch, soft touch, soft touch all the way along the top there. All of this is soft touch. All of this is soft touch. The entire center console is soft touch, except for way down here, of course. And then, yeah, the headliner itself, beautiful headliner. It's got a kind of a neat look to it. But I'm not going to get too much into that stuff because, honestly, I don't care. As long as the car is comfortable, that's what's important to most people. And these seats, my God, are they comfortable. These seats are great on long trips. They've got really, really good lower back support, whether or not it's got the lumbar support. So the passenger side, great lower back support. Driver's side, obviously with the lumbar support, very, very nice. It's got good bolstering, good solid side bolstering, but not too narrow. So regardless of the size of the individual, it's going to be a very comfortable place to be. The headrests don't stick out too far. They're actually, you know, you can see how I'm sitting here. They're very, very comfortable. Obviously, you're not going to drive like this, but well, maybe you would if you have the seat back up a little higher. But yeah, very comfortable seats. All right, let's talk about the center screen. All right, so the first thing I want to say about this 8-inch screen is that it's really, really easy to use. Hyundai has actually done a spectacular job with their screens for years, and this one's no different. It's a non-polarized screen, which means if you wear polarized sunglasses, you'll still be able to see what's on the screen very, very easily. And it's a matte finish, so it does reduce a lot of sun glare. There's actually sun right on the edge here. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but it's not making any difference to me whether or not I can see it. I can see it quite easily. Now, if you have direct sun coming in, sometimes, you know, if you got the sunroof open, yeah, there's a bit too much glare. However, most of the time, 99% of the time, it's going to be just fine. And no different really from other brands in that regard. As you can see, its reaction time is quite quick. You know, jumping into the different menus, different screens, pretty simple, very, very easy to use. One thing I really love about the radio, you can actually have the AM, FM, and satellite presets all on the same screen. That's a nice touch. So most car companies, you have to actually switch between bands. Like you have to go to like FM bands to see your FM stations or whatnot. But on here, you can just switch between them very, very easily, and it'll put them all on the same screen for you. You have up to 40 preset options there. You've also got HD radio in this vehicle as well, and as I mentioned, Sirius XM satellite radio. So there are a couple of touch sensitive buttons on here. So you got the radio, media, and the favorite button. The favorite button here, I always set that up for phone projection because that allows you to jump back into your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto really quickly. And then on the right hand side, you got your seek, track, and setup. Setup, of course, takes you to the screen with all of the setup items, which I'll get to a little bit later. But these buttons are actually very, very sensitive. They work great, and they're quite large as well. Like, they're not too close together. So while you're driving, jumping onto these little buttons is actually quite simple. You do have a physical volume knob. Now, the volume knob is also a power button, so you can shut the radio off, or you can shut the whole screen off by holding that button down. And then on the right-hand side, you have your tuning knob, which is also the means to actually flow through different screens as well. So, but you'll probably never use it for that, maybe for tuning. Under the all menu screen, you can see we've got phone, BlueLink, radio, media, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, the hybrid screen, and voice memo, and there's a few more things over here. Quiet mode, which is pretty cool. Quiet mode will actually shut off the rear speakers and limit the volume in the front. Valet mode for BlueLink, so you can actually set the car up into valet mode if you're handing it over to somebody to park. The setup options, which is the same as going to that button. Notifications, which again is part of BlueLink, and then you can actually get the user manual QR code here, which is kind of neat. Jumping into the setup screen, we can change the sound, obviously. Device connections, where you set up your BlueLink or Bluetooth connections. Displays, where you can change your automatic day, night, blue light filter, home screen information. You can change the media notifications. You can extend the rear camera use, which is currently on. I'm going to turn that off, though. I don't really like that. You can also change some of the general vehicle options. Not from that screen, though. That would be from this screen. So you got your drivetrain mode, whether or not it alerts you on the screen here. And the climate, which is really cool. Check this out. Activate recirculate upon washer use. So when you use the windshield washer fluid, it'll actually recirculate automatically to prevent the smell of the windshield washer fluid coming in the car. How cool is that, guys? Hyundai thinks of everything. All right, and finally the hybrid screen. So the hybrid screen basically shows you what your current fuel economy is. Now 8.5 liters per 100K is not currently accurate. That's just because we've been standing around not moving. So that's been steadily going up. This vehicle, honestly, the fuel economy on it is phenomenal. It's not unusual to get in, low 6s liters per 100 kilometers. I can't recall what the actual rating is from Hyundai, but most of our customers report under 7 liters per 100 kilometers, so it's very, very efficient. I think the actual rating is 7.5 though, if memory serves. Now you'll also see we got electric motor use. It shows you, of course, we haven't really driven much since we turned on the car, but yeah, that's where you can see that. And then the energy flow screen here as well, which you can maximize full screen. You can also go a little bit further into depth, in regards to the economy and the motor use. From here, you get historical information as well, which is pretty cool. And then finally, the backup camera I wanted to show you real quick. So it does have the, oh, there's someone walking behind us. So it's got the dynamic steering lines. It's a very, very clear image. You can see, like, it's kind of hard. It doesn't really pick it up on my camera here, but it's a really, really, really clear screen in comparison to a lot of other car companies. For one thing, you can actually read the check surroundings for your safety up on the screen there. Big, culprit of bad backup cameras is Nissan for whatever reason. Nissan and, well, Toyota's not bad, but it's not as clear as ours. But yeah, if you look at the difference between them side by side, it's quite significant. The other thing I wanted to point out on the backup camera is you can actually change the view. So if you want to see a top-down view, maybe you're loading up a boat trailer or whatever, you can see the bumper along the bottom here, so you can actually navigate backwards really, really easily. And as a matter of fact, you can see the bumper on the regular view as well. So backing up towards a vehicle behind you is super duper simple. And of course, it does have the backup sensors as well to add to that. All right, so that pretty much sums it up for the features of the Trend. Now, if you want to get my driving impressions on the Santa Fe Hybrid, check out the description below for my review on the luxury trim, where I do actually take the vehicle for a drive, because it drives basically exactly the same way as the Trend Hybrid. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching the video, and if you did like the video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Hitting subscribe really helps me out. It spreads the video out a little bit further. The YouTube algorithm is a little nicer when you've got more subscribers, so help me out. Hit subscribe. Even if you only do it for a month, I'll be really happy if you do. Thank you so much. Thanks again for watching, and have a wonderful day.